Oh boy, did it. that was awful. What's up, everybody? It's Chris and I'm back with another video, and today I'm going to do what I think will be the final water test for the Ridgid, DeWalt, and Milwaukee storage systems. Now, after I posted the last video where I submerged them underwater, Thomas Brown posted a comment saying that he agrees that the total immersion test is beyond the scope of what these boxes were supposed to be for, but he would have liked to have seen how they fared in the shower directly under the shower head. And you know what? I agree. So today we're going to run two tests. The first test is going to be the boxes inside of a shower where I have a portable shower head. I'm going to move all around the edges, doing different types of water streams. Then after that test, we're going to put it back in the tub to see how much weight these boxes will take before they begin to sink and the water goes over the lip of the gasket surrounding the lids of the cases. So with that said, let's get into it. All right, so here's how we're going to do our shower test. We have the napkin inside of the case, just like last time. There it is. And I'm just going to basically simulate rain. All right, now let's see how I did. All right, now, as we can see, there's a little bit of water going along the lip in here. And I don't know if it was very visible. That's not water. I think that's just oil stains or something from my hands. But let's see here. I think that the drops that you see in here came from, as you see the lid when I opened it. And that actually is something to note, that if your boxes get wet, when you go and open the lid, some may drip in. But when I first opened it, there was nothing in here. So the Ridgid does very, very, very well in heavy rain environments. Next up is the DeWalt. I'm going to put a napkin in there, close it up. Whoa, it actually has a jet on it. All right, let's see how she did. The DeWalt actually went through a little bit more than the Ridgid just because I forgot to reset the shower head. But let's go. Let's look at it. One thing I can note already is that there is a deep, deep puddle of water right there. So that's something to consider. And I also wonder, like, what are these rods made of that's holding this yellow thing into place? If it's some type of steel or some type of metal, that will eventually rust out. All right, so let's see. Oh, did you guys see that? Okay. Now, nothing was in there. Like, it handled the rain just fine, but that happened when we opened it up. And a commenter actually talked about that. He said that he didn't like the 2.0 system because when it does get wet from being out in the rain, when he opens it, water puddles in. And that is a significant amount of water. Could you imagine having, you know, a drill or something right there, or a battery? That probably would have messed it up. Now let's try something else. Let's turn this around, and I'm pretty positive it came from that puddled up. So I'm wondering if we fill that up with water and then shake it off, will that make a difference? So let's try that real quick. Okay, now we filled it up with water. I'm gonna dump it out. And now let's open it up and see if we have the same problem. Nope, I didn't think so. So when it comes to the DeWalt, the case is very good. I mean, when it came to the rain, it handled that just fine. Just make sure you get rid of all that water that's inside that lid. We have our napkin. Let's close it up. All right, let's see if the Milwaukee can redeem itself. Once again, like the DeWalt, it has these pockets on the top that are just full of water, and we'll see if that makes a difference when we open up the lid. Oh boy, did it. That was awful. Oh my God. Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing with this that we did with the DeWalt. I'm gonna fill that back up with water, then I'm gonna dump it out and then open it up and see if that happens again. But this is awful. Woo, pretty bad. All right, let's see how she does now. Nope, it was still, see there? Still a little bit of water got in. And I cleaned it up really good. This is from my fingers, but yeah, over there in the corner, just a drop, but I still would say that this does not outperform the Ridgid or the DeWalt at all. I think this is the third water test at this point. I think that we can really pretty much say that Milwaukee is not that good at it. So now we move on to how much weight these things can hold before they sink, or at least before we get to the water line. And let me just say that I tried to do this several times. Here, I tried to keep the case inside the tub and then just lower the weight down inside of the box, and I failed. And then so I said, okay, well, let me just put a 25-pound in there and then lower it inside the tub, and I failed. As you can see, the weight was not evenly distributed because the 25-pound weight couldn't fit all the way in there, and it just kind of rolled around and all the weight shifted to the right-hand side, and that didn't work either. And then so I said, okay, well, let's just try to do this and stack the weight on top of the case. Well, after putting this 10-pound weight on there, I realized, okay, if this thing can hold more than 25 pounds, which I'm sure they can, the weight is going to probably slide all over the place, might fall, and then it'll break the tub, and I'm not trying to deal with that mess. So that too was a fail. Which brings us to just having to do it the hard way, where I put all of the weight inside the case and then I stretch it out from my body to slowly lower it down into the tub, almost breaking my back in half. You're welcome. All right, now we're going to try 25 pounds. It's just barely staying afloat. 25 pounds, that's its max. Now, if we look carefully, we see the water line is right at the hinge. It's right at the hinge. So 25 pounds is definitely the Ridgid's max capacity before it sinks. Next up, we'll try the DeWalt with a single 25, and as you can see, it holds the 25-pound weight perfectly fine. I'll try to balance it out. All right, with it balanced, it's slightly leaning over to the left a little bit, but it does float. It holds a 25-pound weight just fine. Next, we're going to add 5 more pounds. For balance, I remove the 25-pound weight, put 2 10s in there and 1 5, and we'll see how it does. It's holding it, but as you can see in the front, that water line is, it's touching the gasket where the handle is. But in the back, we're all clear. So I'm thinking it'll hold at least another 5 pounds. Adding another 5 pounds. All right, it is now at 30 pounds, and it is doing pretty good. But I will say, as you can see in the back, that water line is right at that gasket. It's right below the hinge. Right below the hinge. The front gives us a little more clearance, and it might be able to handle another 5. To test just how much more weight the DeWalt can hold, I'm actually going to just put the 5 on top because I'm not sure it'll hold much more on the inside. There's 5 pounds. And now the water is completely at the seam. Let's add 5 more pounds. We'll do that by removing the 5 and adding the 10. All right, that's it. The rear hinge has gone down, but it still hasn't completely sank. But I would say that 40 pounds is the DeWalt's max. FYI, that hinge was way down in the water, and the water rose past the lid, but there was nothing inside. All that was just splashes from earlier. Last up, we have Milwaukee, and we see the 25-pound weight has a lot of room. It actually has, actually the Milwaukee's been able to house the 25-pound weight better than the other two. 25 pounds of the Milwaukee, and the Milwaukee has done the best job housing the weights. The Milwaukee at 25 pounds is very heavy towards the front, but the back has a lot of lift, so we're going to go ahead and add another 10 pounds to the back. Added 10 extra pounds to the back. Hopefully this balances it out. And the Milwaukee is floating just fine with 35 pounds. All right, let's add 5 pounds. Perfect. That's 40 pounds. And let's add 10 more pounds to see how it does. Still floating, but the water's definitely gone over the edges. So too much of this and water would definitely get inside the case. Just a note, there was quite a bit of water intrusion with the Milwaukee. You might not be able to see it now, but once I remove the weight, you'll be able to see it. It's quite a bit. Yep, just slightly coming over the lip like that. Let all that water in. So definitely the DeWalt triumphs all the water tests. So when it comes to the water testing of all three of these systems, it is very clear that the DeWalt is the winner. And the reason I think the DeWalt exceeds the other two boxes is because the gasket extends to the outside of the box, which is a really smart design. I'm surprised Milwaukee, at the very least, didn't think to do the same thing. In addition to that, I want to say I have some very intelligent viewers. Aaron Porter on my last water test video said that he thinks that the Milwaukee didn't let any water in when I submerged it with my hands because I was pushing down on the top. And again, that gasket probably leaves a very small gap that allows water to pass through. So if I'm pushing down on it, it sealed it. And as we can see from this test, having the weights on the inside, weighing it down, even with the little 10-pound on top, wasn't enough to give it a complete seal. It was a lot of water in that thing with just being slightly submerged underneath the water in the tub. So, Aaron, you were totally correct. And the last message I want to send is out to Keith Brookshire, who asked me in the very first video I made comparing these three systems, which one I would put on the back of a truck and trust my tools to. And I told him Milwaukee hands down. Dude, I totally recant my statement. The DeWalt will handle that rain way, way better. In fact, I mean, my Ridgid system handles the rain better, but I wouldn't recommend that. Overall, DeWalt is what you want sitting in the back of a truck with dust and rain and all that. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys next time.